So Raw was absolutely brilliant, and some people are like, I don't think Backlash looks very good, but after seeing the episode on Monday night, I would say, no, I'm pretty damn pumped. Also, hello my friends, sorry I have been away for a couple of days. I entered the Super Strong Style 16 tournament for Progress Wrestling. I lost in round 1, but I won the loser battle royal that happens on the Monday, so I am a happy Harry at the moment, and thank you everyone for their support. And I woke up this morning, actually last night, and I watched Monday Night Raw, and it just got me. My favorite thing about it was the Paul Heyman promo and the CM Punk return, but Heyman finally comes out, and Jey Uso's like, man, I don't like you anymore because what you did to my brother Roman Reigns and my best buddy CM Punk. And Heyman's like, wait a minute, my friend. Well, he didn't say it like that. He went totally unhinged. He was totally insane. And he said, Roman Reigns lost his championship. He disappeared. The Bloodline 2.0 broke me around for a while. And then Roman Reigns only came back to get his Ula Fala and to be the tribal chief. And CM Punk, if he was my friend, why would he have put me in that position to begin with? Because he did. CM Punk, the character, did horrible things to Paul Heyman because he was like, the favourite's going to be, I am going to essentially pit you against me and Roman Reigns. And you're going to be like the prettiest girl at the dance, but in reverse, because you're going to have to make some choices. No wonder he joined Seth Rollins. But it was just a great promo, and I think this version of Paul Heyman is the version of Paul Heyman I don't want to say that we've needed for a while, but it's the right time for right now on May the 6th, or whatever the flub it is, 2025, because he had been the CM Punk best friend, then he was Brock Lesnar's advocate, then he became Roman Reigns' wise man. Now we've got someone that feels far more conniving, scheming, aggressive, on the front foot, like he wasn't necessarily scared of Jey Uso here. And by the time they told Jey Uso, we are going to take your championship, there wasn't if, buts, or maybes about it. It wasn't a conversation. They just said straight up, we're going to take that from you, and because Jey Uso is the fighting babyface, he says, fine, we'll do it tonight. They go backstage, and Seth Rollins is like, ha ha ha, my trap has worked. Turns out his trap absolutely sucked. The other funny part about this is Paul Heyman went to Bron Breakker afterwards, like, do you understand? Bron was like, maybe. So he just explained the whole thing. It was like in a movie when it runs out of time and you need some exposition. Someone or some character just fills you on everything that has happened, much like Craig David. But it was just really, really good. I thought Jey Uso benefited. I thought Paul Heyman absolutely smashed it out the park. This group between Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, and Heyman just is so cool. The rumor is we're not going to add a fourth person. I think we should. Again, that is something you probably would leak out there if you were going to add somebody new. But I just think you want it to continually grow and evolve and feel like it's exciting before you sort of not paper over the cracks, but lay the foundations. I don't want to go up to 5, because 5 becomes like the Judgment Day, or the Bloodline get up to 5? Yes, it did pretty much with Paul Heyman in it. I would add one more. For me, it'd be Jeff Cobb, but we wait and see. I mean, some people have said Becky Lynch, and I understand that because of the Seth Rollins dynamic. I like them being on separate parts. But super duper good. Main event was brilliant too. WWE does too many disqualification finishes. I tell you that here. I tell you on What Culture Wrestling, where I do their ups and downs. Please do check out over there as well and subscribe to me and subscribe to them. But when it works, it works. And that's another reason why I'd love it they did less. Because here you have a really good match between Seth Rollins and Jey Uso, especially for a television show on a Monday night that we weren't expecting. All the near falls, you're starting to worry, how is this going to work? How is that going to work? And the referee gets bumped, probably on purpose by Seth Rollins, and Sami Zayn comes out, but he gets totally ruined, and Bron Breakker is running wild. When, of course, CM Punk makes his return to WWE. No messing around here. Hits Bron Breakker with a steel chair. Absolutely wrecks Seth Rollins. The referee is looking like this. Well, this is not acceptable in terms of what the rule book says. I say the whole thing got thrown out, but did it? We never heard the ring bell. So if you are in Nebraska, I don't know the name of the arena. I go back. They could still be fighting. But this is why it's a less is more scenario. We hadn't done DQs every single week and sometimes multiple times on the same show. This would have just hit harder. But as it was one of those rare occasions where it was a bait and switch because you didn't get a winner between Jey Uso and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. But Punk coming back, being super over, having the visual at the end of Punk and Sami Zayn standing side by side, meaning if Roman Reigns isn't going to be around for a while, as he likes to do after WrestleMania, they can be the tag team to take on Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. And when we do that tag, I said it could be Backlash. Doesn't really feel like it at the moment because Backlash is this week. But, that's where you could introduce a Jeff Cobb or an extra person. That's how you get out of jail free there. It's not a disqualification. The referee doesn't see it. But we wait and see. Much like when we built the Bloodline 2.0, because Tama Tonga was there and Tangaloa was there, and eventually Jacob Fatu. Just made CM Punk, feel like the super duper babyface that he is. Sami Zayn is great in that role too. Jey Uso held his own, and he had such good babyface fire. I thought he really came across like a world champion, which you're not allowed to say, because people get mad about it. And then you got the horrible heel group that came this close, but then these guys screw them over, so they're going to have to get their revenge. Really good start to the show, really good end to the show. I just had a good time. And again, it's going to be pumped for Backlash. I understand that those matches aren't directly tying into it, but the overall feeling of this show was just one of, again, excitement, pumpiness, I don't know what that means, but it just got me invested. And the Becky Lynch, Lyra, Valkyria stuff was great too. I mean, it was a a by-the-numbers promo structure, in the sense the babyface stands tall, which probably means Lyra's going to lose at the weekend, as she should do, just because I think Becky Lynch going on a heel run with that belt and Lyra trying to get it back is going to elevate the championship. But the promo off was really good. We know Becky Lynch can talk. That's nothing surprising. We know she can talk as a heel. That's not surprising either. It did make me laugh when she like Bayley is garbage, and you should thank people for taking out the garbage, but Lyra Valkyria is recycling, so Lyra comes out and she kind of uses her words against her, stands up for herself, says nothing to do with you. You know, you're just a mess when you're around. I'm happy when you're not. Then they fight, and Lyra Valkyria stands tall, which says by WWE logic she loses at the pay-per-view, but that's okay. Everything they did here is not going to change the world. You're not going to be talking about it in 6 months' time, but it was just good, solid stuff, and it told you a match is coming, here's the angle, the program's going to be this, the title's going to be on the line, and you're probably going to be a switch. Sometimes the obvious stuff is not a problem. I don't necessarily think that's the problem people have with Backlash. I think the card is just a little bit wibbly-wobbly. I think sometimes it also bleeds into, well, nothing's going to surprise me, but you don't want too many surprises, because this is what Vince Russo used to do. If everything is a surprise, the surprise becomes not doing a surprise. And that sounds like a riddle. 2 + 2 = potato. So we never want to fall into that. But I just thought, given I wasn't massively overly invested in what Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria were doing, they went out there and I thought they did a really good job. And Lyra Valkyria especially, I think now, because maybe she's working with someone like a Becky Lynch on Raw and they have a pivotal role on the program, it does feel like she stepped up her game. It does feel like she's doing better. And, you know, if we keep doing this, then she does win the belt back at a SummerSlam. Hopefully the crowd will get behind her a bit more. Not that they don't get invested in what she's doing, but, you know, it's a process when brand new people call up to the roster, especially because Lyra Valkyria did mention in her promo, oh, I've defended that belt more than you've been here because you went on holiday. I was like, I know the numbers, Lyra. It ain't that great. And it's not your fault, but that belt needs to be defended more, and it needs a proper program, which is why I'm pumped about this. I think it was really good. Also getting Penta versus Dominik now at the weekend, which I was not expecting. JD McDonough versus Penta just had a really good match. And by now, you know the Judgment Day are going to get involved. You know Chad Gable is probably going to do something when a luchador is around. Penta won with a Canadian destroyer, or a Mexican destroyer, which broke the internet. And it's one of those things where the tribalism came out, like, oh, of course, WWE understands. AEW, they don't understand at all. Don't do that to me. Don't sucker down professional wrestling. Sometimes, depending on my mood, I want 42,976 Canadian destroyers, and sometimes I want to hit it and you get the 1, 2, 3. Doesn't mean the move is better or worse anywhere else. It depends on the context that it shot it in, and here it was like a crazy Canadian Mexican destroyer, and if now Penta continues to use it as a finisher, not a transition move, then it will work. But sometimes, do I want to tune into a match and see a bunch of those like I'm watching the best indie show ever? Yes, I do, because I don't want to pigeonhole wrestling. I think that would be the worst thing ever. But it was a good match. Finn Balor and Dominik continue to kind of fall out backstage, and JD McDonough now feels like he's getting mad. AJ Styles also inserted himself into this mix. Now, I don't think Penta is going to win, so how you get out of that, I don't know. I would imagine something with Chad Gable, which is why he interjected himself here. So that means coming out, you're going to get Dominik Mysterio versus AJ Styles. But given that JD McDonough is also getting mad at Finn Balor, I actually think what we're going to do is Dominik Mysterio and JD McDonough taking on Finn Balor and AJ Styles. And of course, if you're a nerd like me, AJ Styles and Finn Balor have a terrific history, and that rhymes, so it must be true. They probably have done something like this in WWE before, and I've forgotten. I know they did the Too Sweet once, and they got in trouble by Vince McMahon. Finn Balor basically got destroyed by Kane on the following episode of Raw. But I would like something where it's stretched out a bit. We do more than a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and we kind of talk about it, and we did this and we did that, because it was an incredible time in wrestling when they did. So that's good stuff, especially when it's situated around the Intercontinental title. And actually, I think Dominik Mysterio, as we know, is massively over. AJ Styles is a legend. Finn Balor is a legend. And look, JD McDonough was always really good. But as is sometimes the way with wrestling, because he went through that horrific injury and kept on fighting and now he's back, I think people respect him more. And they put him up on that pedestal. Again, it's just one of those weird things that pro wrestling does. So that will help all of this too. And he's a really good worker. Again, that match with Penta was fantastic. So that works, right? And now the good thing about Penta versus Dom is Penta could win. I don't think he's going to do that after the reaction that Dominik got at WrestleMania, but he could do. So the jeopardy is there. There's enough outside shenanigans that you can switch it around. The only thing I'm a bit confused about, because we talked about Chad Gable, is the Raw Tag Team titles. Because the New Day are talking to American Made, they want something to happen, and the War Raiders are talking to Adam Pearce later on. And essentially next week, I believe, it's War Raiders versus the Creeds. We've seen that before. I don't understand how the Creeds would be allowed to even be in a sniff at going after those belts. And I understand it's the geek side of wrestling, but I feel like what we should be doing is establishing more tag teams. I don't mind that the Alpha Academy got ruined for reasons we'll talk about in just 1 second. But if you know there is a hole there, why can't we call some people up from NXT or whatever it is, although I can't, Hank and Tank maybe, but they just become the champions. Why weren't Fraxium on Raw, given that SmackDown has quite deep tag team division. I understand I'm boring. I understand I talk about this all the time. You have to forgive me. But I think we should merge the championships. When you do that, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, it's just awesome. Like, we're probably about to lose Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as a team too, because Grayson just decides, I don't want to be in the match, so he kind of stooges off to Austin Theory. Sheamus returns, gets the win. It was a decent match for 9 minutes. It wasn't a squash, but it was pretty heavy in the hand of Sheamus. But I've said this for a long old while. Sheamus doesn't get the credit that he deserves, right? He's massively underrated, and it feels like now he's getting towards the end of his career. Finally, people are going like, oh my gosh, I love Sheamus. So I don't want him to lose in these matches, as long as it does end or lead to the end of Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller. I think they've been splitting up now for 18 months. I mean, you could have had 2 kids in that time. You could have 2 brand new humans. But now I kind of think we should keep them together for this tag team division. We just need to make a decision. And if they are splitting up, let's get more tag teams, because it's only going to help. And again, I mean, it probably could happen tomorrow, given the Creeds just walked back in. But Otis gets absolutely wrecked by Rusev. Tozawa gets absolutely wrecked by Rusev. I love this version of Rusev. The entrance music is not as good as it once was, but it still works. Very video game type entrance. Rusev is awesome. Totally understands how to propel his personality. Throws both guys around. Proper big men slapping man meat. It was just fun, and it was enjoyable. And I know some of the critics have been like, I can't believe Rusev came back to fight the Alpha Academy. That's not what's happening. It's like Aleister Black on SmackDown. He beats the Miz. Great, move on to something else. And Rusev looks so dominant here that even if he does have a match against Tozawa, and even if they carry this on for a few weeks, he's going to walk away with his head held high. And I guess whenever the Intercontinental title's on a babyface, I would try and interject Rusev into that mix. Rusev could even be the extra guy in Seth Rollins' group, but he wouldn't do, because you'd wait to introduce him into that. But I love the presentation. I love that he's back on TV. I just love everything about it. Yeah, sure. But then again, even if you put the Alpha Academy back in the tag team division, are they actually going to win the belts? I don't think so. Like last week, whatever it was, 2 weeks ago, when they came out to try and do something with the New Day, they got wrecked and they got smashed. I just think we need to rebuild the tag team division from the ground up, as if I'm making some kind of a video game. In like 2018, they used to love that phrase, maybe more than that, 2015. We're going to build it from the ground up. And verticality, you'd be like, that's great, just give me a good game that I can play. Or in terms of GTA 6, like, you're going to wait another year. The women's division is absolutely flying, though, because we had Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez has been good for the main roster for ages. They just have an awesome match. They go a bit old school, because Roxanne is focusing on the leg. Wonderbar, good old stuff. Of course, it ends with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, WWE's second favourite finish. But then Roxanne tries to shake Io Sky's hand. Io Sky is one of the only few baby faces that can shake her hand. You don't think she's a goober, because you know deep down she's just a nice person. Julia comes. They're like the Big Ads tag team. Rhea Ripley would have been there, but she's in Australia promoting the Crown Jewel show, which is coming from Australia this year. Julia and Roxanne, I really like how they're being presented on Raw, like running wild, we don't care about you. Now, the elephant in the room, is that the right term, is Dakota Kai easily could have been fitted into this position, whereas Rhea Ripley could have gone on to do something else. Nothing to do with Rhea Ripley, because WWE made the decision, for whatever reason, to get rid of Dakota Kai. And even if you do want to do Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus those two, which I think we're doing on next week's Raw, I don't see why Dakota still couldn't have been Io Sky's friend. So I feel like something else has gone on there, which is completely speculative. But I just don't see why you'd release her when she still had so much more to give. And even if Asuka and Kairi come back as a tag team, well, again, Dakota can be Io's friend. That works. Just because you're splitting up Damage Control, I don't know. It's so hard to talk about, because people, you get the two sides of thought. Some people are like, oh man, the company's the worst thing ever. And some people are like, oh man, it's a company, they should allow to fire people. It's not a black and white situation. You can understand that's how businesses work in the modern day, and also just think it absolutely sucks that somebody lost their job and it's not fair. Both these things are totally reasonable. But she could have been inserted into there was my big point. But still, the match was really, really good. Even Rhea and Io taking on those two will be awesome. And to me, I know they've still got stuff going on in NXT, but Roxanne and Julia can come tomorrow. It's going to be perfectly fine. And that women's division is in a really good state, because once they kind of get this done and Rhea and Io finish their thing, you want to go into something new, I think. I don't know who that would be, because Io Sky, I imagine, will come out with the championship. Even if she doesn't, they're both baby faces. She did a heel ready to go. So Rhea Ripley could win, which is perfectly fine, because Io had her big victory at WrestleMania. Then we get into Julia versus Rhea Ripley, or Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley. Things we've rarely seen. And that's going to feel filled, that's going to feel fresh, which is why I like Lyra versus Bayley. I know we've done it before. We're doing it for the IC title. It's good. That's why I like the Seth Rollins group as well, because it kind of feels like we're bringing new elements into this. So yes, just excellent. Really, really enjoyed all of that. And of course, there was the Pat McAfee Gunther stuff. So this is going to be really interesting. I understand seeing Pat McAfee versus Gunther on a card is going to make some people raise their eyes. Gunther's got to kill him. I think that's fair to say. If it leads to the Goldberg stuff, got no problem with that, because Gunther will beat him too. This is only good for Gunther. Pat McAfee can cut a good promo. We know this. He's very, very passionate. I did think it was a bit silly. Again, I'm being a nerd again, saying, Gunther, you got too comfortable. Gunther, that's the only reason Sami Zayn and Jey Uso were able to beat you. Because that's just mugging off Sami and Jey Uso. Like, well, if you were at your best, Gunther, you would have won. But it is still part of the story. But then to say he doesn't care anymore when the first thing he did after losing his world championship was try to kill Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. But I still understand what we're doing there. He's trying to get under Gunther's skin. Gunther absolutely cooked him. I mean, basically said, I'm going to murder you. Unless, magical forces remove my hands from around your throat, I'm not going to let go. And that's why, listen, Pat McAfee can absolutely have flurries of offense. I'm not saying it has to be a minute. I'm just saying, let's say we go 10. 8.5 absolutely has to be Gunther just absolutely wailing on this dude and kicking his ass and being terrifying and convincing. Because then he can come out the other side feeling like, oh my gosh, we've got to be terrified of this guy. And if he is going to go into the Goldberg feud, I don't think it needs to be silly. Like some people think because Goldberg coming back, it has to be over-the-top nostalgic or anything like that. Why can't we pitch it as Gunther is a threat to Goldberg, try and get Goldberg sympathy that way? They really do not need to go more than 3.5 minutes, 5 tops, because we know that's when Goldberg is best. Let them do the Paul Heyman finisher. We've come in with our meters-filled match, and they can just go nuts. I don't mind them doing it at SummerSlam or some kind of big event before that, depending on what they want to do. Did Goldberg just have surgery, or am I making that up? I don't know. But Gunther being the last match against Goldberg, I don't mind at all, especially if it starts here and, again, moves on to a big event. I'd be pumped for it. I'd be excited about it, and that's why I don't mind it happening on the Backlash card as well. As long as we do it right and it tells a story and we can come out the other side and continue to tell that tale. But I thought what they did here was really good. The suspension thing is hilarious. We're going to suspend you for a week, Gunther, and then you can just come back the week after. So, okay. He's so going to do it again. What did it cost him? Not that much. I saw him buying a watch on social media today, so he's still got loads of money. I just think sometimes when people lose a championship, you need to make sure we can re-elevate them before they get lost in the shuffle. I don't think it would ever happen to Gunther because he's too good, but we have seen it happen before. So the fact that we've got the plan, we're on it, we're not sort of deviating, that's going to be excellent. Beat Pat McAfee, why not? People will be behind him. People love it when the commentator becomes the wrestler. And again, everything that Pat McAfee has done in WWE in-ring, apart from the Vince McMahon stuff, has been pretty damn good. So I like this too. I'm sure I've forgotten something, I always do, but that was kind of the crutch of the show. And by the end of it, I was like, I'm just pumped for Backlash. I'm looking forward to Backlash. It comes way too soon after WrestleMania, and then we have to cram a bunch of other pay-per-views in there because WrestleMania was so late. But let's look next year, New Orleans. We brought it back again, and that will bring better balance to all the shows, both coming in and coming out of the damn thing, because it has been a bit crazy this time, and it's caused a little bit of a ruffling, whatever that means. But let's not forget as well, over the next few weeks coming out of Backlash, you know you're going to have Cody Rhodes coming back. I think May 19th is what he's been penciled in for. And there'll be other elements to all of this too. Again, Jeff Cobb's going to debut and maybe some other people. And after the Randy Orton John Cena thing, we need to pivot somewhere else with John Cena. I can't believe we'll do it again. I mean, WWE is kind of hammering home hard that John Cena versus Randy Orton is the last time, although they also said that in 2012, whatever the flub it was. But some people just aren't excited for John Cena versus Randy Orton. I'll leave this till tomorrow because my predictions video is going up. Sometimes it's just like, do you want some ice cream followed by a pizza? Other way around. Like, yeah, I do want that. And even if it necessarily isn't the best ice cream or pizza I've ever had, at least I'm getting it, man. And I actually think the John Cena Randy Orton feud back in the day was good, but not brilliant. I thought sometimes they didn't really click on the same page to the level you would expect. I'm being a bit harsh there. So for them to get to do it one last time with all the experience they've got, and I know John Cena isn't the same John Cena as he once was, but he still gets it. He still knows what he's doing, and I'm sure he's still aware of his limitations. So I think that's great. I'm looking forward to it. And if the tag team match does get added, I just think that elevates it higher. I don't think Jey Uso versus Logan Paul has been officially announced. Have we had a graphic? Because I think we may save that for Saturday night's main event, and WWE would try and sort of lure in some of Logan Paul's social people to sort of boost that number, because I don't think they've been particularly happy with the ones they've done so far. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but again, it can always add last minute. But really, really good Raw. Really, really fun. Very excited about what we're going to do with the Seth Rollins group and CM Punk being back. He's a star. And do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh my gosh, CM Punk's going to get booed. Not in Nebraska, he wasn't. And he could do going forward, sure. But this crowd felt far more, we're going to boo the bad guys and cheer the good guys. WWE is always better when we do that. I don't enjoy the fighting with management as we go back to 2014 and WrestleMania 30, which I did watch the other day. And it's a lovely event. And I still stand on my big old hill that nobody agrees with, that Brock Lesnar beating the streak was the right thing to do. We can talk about that whenever. We've talked about it before. Now, you're going to have opinions about Raw that are way more important than mine. Drop them in the comment below, then like the video, share the video, click the notification bell, and click the video on the screen. And also, you can go to grillermind.com/Simon. You get Simon, get money off, 10%, sometimes more. I use these supplements. I think they're great. Their pre-workout is the best as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise, it is Simon316 on all social media, Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon Miller for personalized cameo videos, always appreciated doing those. And simonmiller.bigcartel.com and prowrestlingtees.com for Simon Miller for my Baldy t-shirt, my official best-selling t-shirt. It's the Audi logo, but it says Baldy on it, and it's me. No one tell Audi, though I'm pretty sure parody is protected under fair use. Have a great day. Have a great week. Sorry for the last couple of days, but thank you to all the support at the Progress Wrestling Show. I had a good old time. Now I will see you soon.